30 years of economic stagnation in Japan. You know the story, it's a universally known tragedy. But what if I told you everything you've been taught about the cause is completely wrong? Welcome to The Explainer. Let's dive into the real data.
Ask anyone why Japan stopped growing. They'll tell you it's the aging population. They'll blame low birth rates, right? It sounds logical. It's the accepted global narrative. But the hard numbers reveal a shocking truth. A truth that shatters that myth entirely.
It wasn't the demographics. It was policy panic. Government flip-flopping literally killed the growth. Boom. That is a massive slap in the face to conventional wisdom. The economy didn't just die of old age. It was actively suffocated by hesitation and political indecision.
Just look at the sheer scale of the chaos here. You've got economic uncertainty spiking. You've got market volatility going crazy. The Lehman shock, the Brexit vote, delayed tax hikes. When the government couldn't make up its mind, the market went into absolute free fall.
So how exactly do we know this? Well, researchers acted as data detectives. They didn't just rely on gut feelings. No, they text-mined 30 years of data from 4 major Japanese newspapers. They analyzed millions of printed words to map out exactly when and why people panicked. It's like a massive infographic of human anxiety.
They tracked specific triggers. They hunted for the exact moments the economy, policy, and fear collided in the headlines. Words like taxes printed right next to words like concern. They took subjective panic and translated it into undeniable, hard data points.
Now here is the absolutely crucial question. Who is actually causing this panic? Conventional wisdom says it's the central bank. Everyone assumes the Bank of Japan creates the most market anxiety whenever they touch interest rates, right?
Wrong again. Look at this breakdown. A staggering 56% of policy uncertainty comes directly from fiscal policy. Monetary policy, that only accounts for 24%. Fiscal fear absolutely crushes monetary fear. It's not the bankers causing the most stress, it's the politicians.
The real chaos agents here are taxes, spending, and debt. Politicians hesitate on tax hikes. They delay them over and over. They pass endless, unpredictable emergency budgets. The rules constantly shift. And you know what happens when the rules shift? The market completely freezes.
Fiscal uncertainty directly mirrors political chaos. They move together, like a shadow. You can see the exact moments the parliament was politically split, or when a prime minister rapidly resigned. In those moments, fiscal fear went completely through the roof.
But this isn't just media noise. It's not just political theater. It has a very real cost. When the government hesitates, businesses stop hiring, they stop expanding. The economic body count rises. Real people lose real opportunities.
And this builds into a genuine economic collapse. This is predictive data. It shows you exactly what happens immediately after a spike in uncertainty. See that plunge? That's an undeniable drop in industrial output. Panic leads directly to paralysis.
The math here is absolutely brutal. Exactly 1 year after a major uncertainty shock hits the system, industrial production drops by a massive 2%. That's not a rounding error. That represents real factories literally shutting their doors simply because they cannot predict the government's next move.
It completely guts the wider economy. GDP plummets. But the real devastation is in long-term business investment. That drops by a massive 3%. It just falls completely off a cliff.
Here is the fascinating split. Investment dies much, much faster than household consumption. Think about it. You and I, we might still buy groceries when politics gets chaotic, but a CEO? When businesses can't predict future taxes or regulations, they simply refuse to build new factories today. Capital investment stops dead in its tracks.
Next section, flaws in the formula.
Let's look at this objectively. This study is vastly superior to previous benchmarks, like the famous 2016 Baker study. It doubles the source material. It expands from 2 newspapers to 4. But more importantly, it strips out seasonal noise to find the real signal. It gives us a much clearer lens on the data.
But actually, there is a massive inherent flaw we can't ignore. Measuring newspaper frequency might just be measuring journalists hyping up a story to sell papers. Does a spike in the word uncertainty in a newspaper actually mirror the reality of a panicked corporate boardroom? It's a proxy. It's a reflection of the truth, but perhaps not the absolute truth itself.
Yet the core lesson here remains completely undeniable. Japan's lost decades weren't an unavoidable accident of demographics. They were a choice of chronic hesitation. Which leaves us with a critical question to end this explainer on.
If bad policy and political gridlock kill investment so brutally, what choices are being made in your backyard? What is the hesitation of your local government costing you right now?